Patrick Reed has won the Masters. He's won 3 Ryder Cups. He's beaten the best players alive on the biggest stages in golf. And yet, it seems like almost nobody on the PGA Tour will stand up and defend him. Kevin Kisner once said this: "They all hate him. Any guys that were on the team with him hate him, and that's the same way at Augusta. I don't know that they'd piss on him if he was on fire, to tell you the truth." That's Patrick's own teammate talking. Kisner said that about Reed while the two of them were on the same President's Cup roster. The thing that never stopped following Reed happened in a bunker in the Bahamas in December 2019, a penalty for improving his lie, caught on camera in front of the whole golf world. Even the guys who'd shared a team room with him weren't ready to look past it.
What are your thoughts on that? Was he cheating?
Yeah. I think, yeah. I mean, I don't know what he was doing, playing, building sandcastles in the sand. But if you play the game, you understand the rules. You understand, the integrity that goes on, and I mean, there's no room for it.
That's Brooks Koepka, Reed's teammate at both the 2016 and 2018 Ryder Cups. 2 of his own teammates saying that about him. So how does a major champion and a Ryder Cup hero end up with so little support from the room he actually plays for? Start with what actually happened. December 2019, the Hero World Challenge, a waste bunker on the 11th hole. Reed brushed away sand with his club before playing his shot, not once, but twice, and was given a 2-stroke penalty for improving his lie. He accepted the penalty after watching the replay, but he's maintained ever since that he didn't do it on purpose. 2 years later, a different tournament, a different rule, the same question followed him. At the 2021 Farmers Insurance Open, Reed's approach shot buried into deep rough on the 10th hole. Believing nobody in his group had seen the ball bounce, Reed picked it up himself, decided it was embedded, and asked for a free drop before a rules official ever got there. The official checked the ground, agreed there was an indentation, and the ruling stood. Then a broadcast replay surfaced, showing the ball actually had bounced before it settled, which made it almost impossible for it to have embedded at all. The ruling never changed. But that's what got players talking.
I didn't search for the videos, I just have heard talk amongst the boys out here.
Have you ever ran into a situation like that on the golf course?
I would not put myself and create a situation like that. It's kind of, I wouldn't, if my ball's been embedded, I usually will wait and call someone and kind of wait till everyone's on the same page, wait to look at video. So I try to avoid situations like that just for that reason.
Just to be clear, you wouldn't have picked the ball up?
No, I would wait for an official. You can put a tee in the ground and check your ball. I mean, he did everything by the book, according to the official, and everyone stood by there. Obviously, the talk amongst the boys isn't great, I guess, but he's protected by the tour, and that's all that matters, I guess.
Days after the bunker penalty, with Reed about to represent the U.S. at the President's Cup, Golf Channel analyst Brandel Chambly weighed in. He said, "They made a deal with the devil when they put Patrick Reed on this team. To defend what Patrick Reed did is defending cheating. It's defending breaking the rules." Reed later sued Chambly over commentary like this, and in 2022, a federal judge dismissed the case. Nick Faldo had something to say about the situation too. Reed now has a reputation forever. When he's walking down the range, it'll all go quiet. "There goes Patrick 2 scoops," his fellow pros will mutter. Reed will never shake it off. It wasn't the first time Reed's fellow competitors had aired their grievances about him in public either. Go back further, to 2018, before any of this, to a Ryder Cup, where the trouble wasn't a bunker, it was a partner. Reed and Jordan Spieth had been one of the most successful pairings in Ryder Cup history, across the 2014 and 2016 Cups. In 2018, U.S. Captain Jim Furyk broke them up, pairing Reed with Tiger Woods instead. Reed lost both his 4-ball matches that week. Afterward, he told the New York Times the decision came down to one thing: Spieth not wanting to play with him. Spieth responded to this in his own way. He said, "We were totally involved in every decision that was made. Jim allowed it to be a player-friendly environment." Notice how Spieth never fired back directly, but he made it clear the whole thing was a group decision, not something aimed at Reed specifically. Even in the middle of all of it, though, one voice pushed back.
You try to give the player the benefit of the doubt, right? You know, he's getting there and he's trying to figure out what way to play the shot. Obviously, he's moved some sand, so it is a penalty. But, you know, I keep saying I don't think it would be a big deal if it wasn't Patrick Reed. And I think, you know, it's almost like it's you know, a lot of people within the game, it's almost like a hobby to sort of kick him when he's down. And I've had great interactions with Patrick. I certainly don't think there was intent there. I mean, that shot right there does look bad. It's very hard for me not to think that, you know, he didn't feel what he was doing. It's a hard one. But again, I'd rather try to give someone the benefit of the doubt and just say, look, it was a mistake. You know, take your penalty, move on.
That's Rory McIlroy, essentially asking the golf world to slow down, not defending what happened, just questioning whether Reed was getting a different level of scrutiny than anyone else would. And that's where you realize this story isn't as straightforward as it seems on the surface. Because if you'd only heard Kisner, Koepka, and Chambly, you'd think Reed had no allies left at all, but he had more than you'd expect. And the biggest one of all was Tiger Woods. In April 2018, after Reed had just won the Masters, Tiger Woods, who'd take over as the U.S. President's Cup captain the following year, tweeted his "Congratulations." He said, "Congrats. At worst, you have assured yourself a captain's pick for next year's President's Cup." 18 months later, in November 2019, Tiger followed through. Reed hadn't qualified on points that year. His form had dipped for most of the season. But Tiger named him one of his 4 captain's picks anyway. Tiger has also called Reed a tough kid who had handled a tough upbringing well. With Reed back in the team room, his teammates were asked directly what they thought of having him there. Xander Schauffele put it simply, everyone's going to give him the benefit of the doubt. And Webb Simpson had this to say about having Reed as part of the team: it hasn't really been an issue at all. Simpson wasn't speaking as an outsider either. He was paired with Reed in 4 balls that same week. 6 years later, the same question came back around. Reed left LIV Golf in January 2026 and put himself back on a path to the PGA Tour. And this time, the players who'd once been hardest on him were the ones welcoming him back. Harris English had turned down his own offer to join LIV.
Well, I just saw the Patrick news when I was working out in the trailer this morning. I saw it pop up. I didn't do Twitter or anything this morning. I kind of knew the Brooks thing was coming by some of his comments. I didn't know it was going to happen this quickly. But as you're seeing, kind of the dominoes are starting to fall of maybe those guys on the LIV Tour are not that happy out there, and the grass is not greener on the other side, and they're seeing the PGA Tour getting stronger and having more success, and kind of seeing that money's not the end-all be-all. Like, that doesn't fulfill them, it doesn't fulfill me.
Harris English had turned down his own offer to join LIV. So when he says the grass isn't always greener on the other side, it's coming from someone who actually had the choice in front of him. And here's U.S. Open champion J.J. Spawn's take.
I think, you know, Patrick will be a good asset to this tour, and I think it just speaks volumes to where the tour is headed. And I think it's going to add even more competition, you know, for us that have been here while they left. And, you know, adding Brooks and Patrick now, it's just strengthening our tour, which I think is great.
And here's the world number 1, who'd stayed quiet through every year of the controversy, finally weighing in.
Look at a lot of the discussions we've had, and when you look at what a lot of the fans are saying, I think people want the best people playing together again. And so when it comes to great players like a Brooks Koepka or Patrick Reed, I mean, Patrick Reed's a major champion. Brooks Koepka's, I think, won 5 majors. And so having those guys competing out here, I think is great for the tour. I think it's great for the fans. It's great for our sponsors. And I think the last few years, there's just been a lot of noise. And so I think getting those guys back, I think is another step towards us just being able to play golf again. And that's what I'm looking forward to most.
Now, none of the criticisms against Reed ever got walked back. Nobody apologized. His reputation as one of the most disliked players in modern golf stays fully intact. But also, watch what happens whenever it actually counts. Every real decision golf has made about Patrick Reed, like selecting him in a team, welcoming him back to the PGA Tour, all of it shows us that his game cannot be denied. Maybe that's the real story. Patrick Reed never gets forgiven, but he also never stops getting picked.